Right, hi guys, bit of a different one for you today. So, this is just a technical demonstration of a script that I've written, which will essentially guarantee the capture of Mardrag at the start of the Dragonfly Forest. It'll actually work for any Mardrag, but the point of the script is I was trying to investigate how we can impact the game's code in ways that may be undetectable. Primarily so that we can detect it or find ways to detect unfair play later on. But I think I'll just get on straight into the demonstration and I'll go explain what's going on later. So, first and foremost, I'm just going to go over what the experience of capturing Mardrag usually goes like. So this is just a regular run that's just at the stage we've gone into the Dragonfly Forest. I haven't done anything to this version of the game. This is a vanilla copy of the game. The script's not running. So I'm just going to capture the Mardrag that we normally would, or at least attempt to capture the Mardrag. So we can just show. So I'll just show you what capturing it at full health normally goes like. Hopefully it doesn't actually work, because there is a small chance that it does outright work. So we'll just try and capture this level 3 Mardrag. We're level 1. The odds of this working very, very low. But I want you to pay attention to how long this animation is taking. Just pauses the emulator tentacle. So there's it struggling. It actually looks like we were succeeding there. So we've managed to catch that one, which is not what you want. That's what a normal, successful Mardrag capture looks like, I suppose. We get Shab Liquor from that one. You get to level 3, whatever. So I'll go back, and we'll see if I can get it so that we fail to capture the Mardrag. Because that was not the script, that was just pure luck. Unbelievably. I'm very lucky, apparently. I really haven't done anything to the code, so I still don't know what actually determines random number generator for this, because I'm not doing that, but we'll give it a go. We'll just see if it lets us capture it outright again. It'll be funny if it lets us just do this again, because I don't know what if the seeds that's letting us do this. Oh yeah, if I was doing an actual run, I would have loved that. You gonna struggle, Mardrag? Is that an escape? That doesn't look like an escape either. I think it's just capturing it. Okay. Why must you do this to me, Mardrag? Okay, we'll try the one that's behind it. We'll just try and capture a different Mardrag. Why must you do this to me? This is the downside of doing it live. Come on, you come over here. I'm going to get you out of the way so I can get you to go to sleep over there. And then we're just going to walk past him. So you should be out of the way now. I'll just wait for him to go to sleep. And we'll go to the Mardrag behind him. The fact that he's struggling is how I know he's not using the script. I would just assume that the seed's just being nice to us or whatever, and it's letting us just capture the Mardrag. Okay, let's just capture the one behind it. It doesn't particularly matter that it's working, but it's not a good demonstration of the fact that Mardrag is normally like really hard to capture. Come on, you're gonna get caught as well. He's getting caught as well. Okay. Backup plan. We're gonna reload the game. We're just gonna reload the... Jesus Christ. Always fails when you do it live. Anyway. Let's just... that one. Looking at the memory address, just go. Anyway, so... Jesus Christ. Why must you do this to me? Game. Everything looks correct. In fact, we'll just try it with the Tefrade. We'll just try and capture a Tefrade as well. Because the script is specifically assigned to Mardrag anyway. Oh, it's still Mardrag. Weird. internal game code's being funky, isn't it? I really hope it doesn't just keep letting me capture Mardregs like this, because I shouldn't be able to. I should not get 4 successful Mardreg captures in a row when I've loaded the game as well. Oh my god, it's going in. Game, please. What are you doing? Okay, what is up with you? What is up with you, game? You know what, I think... No, the scripts can't be running because it wouldn't look like that if the script was running. We'll reboot the game. We're just gonna reboot the emulator outright. It doesn't... No, it doesn't want me to reveal the secrets. This would be the advantage of having an edited video rather than just doing a live stream, but I wanted to get this out there. Look up to EPSXE. Yes, keep the current address list. Anyway, so... Anyway... Normally you can't capture the Mardreg. Everyone who runs the game knows you can't normally capture the Mardreg like that. You have to be extremely lucky when you're doing the speedrun to get the Mardreg. So, the point of the script is I wanted to check if there was a way to get this indiscriminate... Sorry, not indiscriminate, this subtle cheat into the game, essentially. So that we could detect... So that we could see if there was a way to detect the cheat in use. As it, you know, it takes a cheater to know how to get around a cheat, if you get what I mean. If you don't know how to do the cheat, it's hard to learn how to detect the cheat. I'm a bit thrown off by the fact that it's not actually letting me demonstrate it with capturing it. Maybe I should try and capture a level 4 instead, I don't know. Odds capturing level 3 at full health, not very high. Okay, it's a Tefrade now, so we're just going to capture the Tefrade. And if this works, I don't have words. I just don't have words if this works. Please struggle. Okay, it looks like it's struggling this time. There we go. That's what normally happens. Pretty much every time. You attempt to capture the Tefrade, it struggles, or the Mardreg, it struggles, it fails. So I'm just gonna set its health to 1. And then I'm gonna capture it again. And this is just for demonstrating of what the capture is going to look like after we implement the glitch. So this is exactly what our glitched or cheated capture will also look like. This Mardreg shouldn't struggle, it's on 1 health. Cool. Apart from the 4 times I just... Yeah, well, I think the seed was just on my side, I don't know. Oh, we got chestnut oil from that one, that's also a very rare drop. But anyway. So that's what it normally looks like. Now... Oh, wrong one, there we go, this one. Not Glitchland. So now we're back to where we were. So now I'm going to enable the cheat. So all I need to do is press my execute script button. And now when I go to capture the Mardreg, it'll work. And it'll work cleanly. The Mardreg won't struggle. Hopefully I've done it right. You'll know if I've done it wrong because the screen will just start going really bizarre, and that's how you know that I've done it wrong. Oh, we struggle. How can we struggle? It's gonna work anyway, I think. Oh, there you go, it just lagged out a little bit. Oh, why was that doing? Something's going on there. Because that's still different from how it's looked every other time. I hope it's not a consistent glitch. We'll try another one. See if that looks as it should. So we'll just capture this one as well, but this time, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to press the defend button instead of capture. And Levant's still just going to go and capture the Mardrag instead. Live demos always go wrong. But anyway, this time I've told Levant to defend. And you just capture the Mardrag. Anyway, for whatever reason that Mardrag was behaving a little bit weirdly, I don't know. But anyway, point is the script's enabled, and it will actually cause Levant to capture the minion regardless of what we tell Levant to do. And the game functions normally. If I now go into the next room, and I fight Heralco, of which there probably is one. There we go, there's a Heralco. If I now fight the Heralco, the fight should just resume as normal, as if I didn't just cheat capturing either of those Mardrags. So this is now just a regular fight. There is nothing special going on here, this is just a regular fight. But if I ever encounter Mardrag again, I can just use the cheat, capture it the same way I did before. And those Mardrags will be purifiable and usable, and they will act as regular Mardrags. I don't know why that Mardrag struggled, but you can see that, like, there was a slight animation difference there, but it's somewhat beside the point, because the purpose of the demonstration is not... In fact, I will go purify these Mardrags, is not to show that that my rudimentary implementation of the hack is perfect. It's to show that it's possible. So, I wonder if this Mardrag will behave now. So the game will resume acting as normal. So, why does this matter? Well, essentially it's just a matter of... If you can perform this glitch and it blends seamlessly, obviously that first attempt did not blend, but these ones are working fine. If they blend seamlessly with regular gameplay of the game, then it will be impossible to tell the difference between whether or not you've cheated capturing the Mardrag or not. You just wouldn't be able to tell. And you can target it for specific minions, that's naturally obvious. As I've done in this, you could tell the script to turn itself off after you capture the first Mardrag, so it doesn't apply to any others that you end up fighting. And you could just apply this logic in a number of places, the same sort of attack, in a number of other aspects as well. So I'll go over how it's working now, I suppose. It's essentially... Every action you take in combat in Jade Cocoon is broken down into a series of animation steps. Those will be animations for SFX, for the camera movement, for the animations of the characters, and changes to things like health and whatnot. Those are all impacted by these memory addresses. And so one way you could try to control the game is try to control the random number generation so that when you go to capture the minion, you get a capture outcome you like. Because it's essentially broken down into 4 different potential outcomes. You have capture pattern 1, which is where you just straight away capture the minion, it doesn't resist. You have capture pattern 2, where it struggles for a bit, but is ultimately captured. You've capture pattern 3, where it struggles... Sorry, no, that's when it is almost captured immediately and then rebounds. And then you also have capture pattern 4, which is where it just struggles and gets back out. I actually do think I know why that one glitched out a little bit, and I think it's because it was actually trying to do capture pattern 1, which I haven't configured the hack to do correct. Sorry, capture pattern 2, which I haven't configured the pack to actually deal with properly. I'm dealing with Capture Pan 2 and 3 and 4 instead. So now that we've got those minions, I'll just show that you can use them normally. But essentially, all I've done is I've said, whatever action you take, set the memory addresses to match capture pattern 0. And this is broken down into 2 parts. So you essentially have the initial using the attack. I'm just going to use one of these Mardregs. Sorry. Broken down into 2 parts, which is essentially the first one is when you first start the fight, I tell it that the next action to take is going to be a captured action. And to lock all the memory addresses which control what the next sequence is for the camera and all the rest of it. What I don't control is what I would say is the outcome memory address of like the outcome of that fight or that action and the start action. I check that start action for being capture pattern 3 or 4 and then set it to capture pattern 0 instead. And the reason I don't set that first one, or sorry, the outcome one, I don't lock that down until you start to actually capture is because essentially it'll bug the game out and it'll look all wonky. But if you don't lock it at that point, then you won't get the victory music and it would still look right. But if you turned the sound on, you wouldn't hear victory music and it just wouldn't be quite right. But anyway, as you can see, all of these Mardregs are completely usable. They're very normal. Their stats aren't wonky or anything like that. They're all just regular Mardregs. So, there are obviously more implications to this than just, oh, you can use it to capture Mardreg. I just thought it was the most pertinent point when it comes to the Cocoon any percent run. Because you only capture one Mardreg in the entire run. So if you cheat capturing that one Mardreg, turn the script off, whatever it is, after the fact. Can you please stop running away? Whatever it is, it would be indistinguishable from just good luck. Is why I wanted to check that specifically. But you could apply this to the same thing as critical hits, dodges, or just regular attacks, because those two are broken down into the same sequence of actions. You have the camera movement, then you have the animations, the characters, any SFX going on, and it's exactly the same. So there is very little difference between forcing a capture sequence to forcing a critical hit or forcing a dodge. And you don't need to force it either. It would be very simplistic to just bolt on a randomizer for whether or not you're going to get a critical hit or if you're going to capture the Mardreg, to simply give yourself different odds, to improve your odds. So instead of going from an 100%, I could just say, oh, 5% of the time I successfully capture Mardreg. And you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell, or rather, you know, to do the whole memory address locking and whatever else. You wouldn't be able to tell unless I did loads of streams doing it. If I did them offline, how would you know that I did that? And similarly, I could just have pretty good luck with critical hits. I would need to know the actual odds so I could do something that's slightly better. Say, if I would critical hit 5% of the time, maybe I just say I critical hit 6% of the time, because to make it less statistically significant that I've got that luck. Of course, over a longer period of time, again, it becomes more obvious that I must be cheating by this margin getting increasingly unlikely. The longer you do it, the closer you get to the actual odds. But my main concern was how this impacts the offline runs of the game. And you can see now I've used all 3 Mardregs, all of them the same. I can just go over their stats as well. Got 28 there, a 27 and a 27. All very normal. Nothing weird about the Mardregs on any of their informations or anything like that. They're just fully normal Mardregs. So, a good example of where this could be applied would be controlling Tuturus AI, for example, to stop him from doing mana drains or poison tails. or getting critical hits against them, reducing the odds of them using poison, like so many things. You can fully control what happens because the same memory addresses or the same queuing of actions applies to all of these things. And it makes it very hard to trust an offline run if this is truly indistinguishable. Now, I'm obviously playing on PAL. I've implemented this script for PAL. It would probably look a little different, at least in terms of which memory addresses you're controlling on the NTSC version, but the game's not fundamentally different. This can apply to any version of the game. It's obviously emulators are more susceptible to this. I'm actually going to go back and we're going to see if we can get the other Mardrake to behave. We're just going to go up to that one, the second one, and then capture that one instead of the first one, seeing if we won't get that visual error. I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm going to need to pull it away from the first one, aren't I? So yeah, the problem comes with offline runs. If I do 100 runs offline, or I do one run offline and I capture Mardrake first try, I can just say it's my 100th run, right? And then it comes down to finding out whether or not someone's cheating. Comes down to how surprised they are with the outcome, or how genuine their reaction appears, rather than, you know, it's not possible to control that, so they must genuinely have done it. I'm hoping this will now behave correctly, since we're capturing the second one first. But, whatever the case, I could just find the memory address more. I did this in one night. This wasn't a difficult hack to implement. I just thought about it for a while, and then just implemented it, and there you go. So yeah, this is now it behaving as you'd expect. So I could take 100 recordings, or however many it takes of me doing this, where I get a Mardrake which does that first try, and then just keep doing them until I get a great run beyond this point, and you'd be none the wiser. And then I upload it and say, yeah, I got a really good run. Yeah, so it turns into looking for clues for when the hack's done, right? That's why I wanted to publish this video. I wanted people to be aware that this hack can exist, that it's easy to do. I'm by no means an expert in assembly. I obviously have looked into the game code extensively for my challenge runs, but I can't understand it. I don't know what the commands each do. I've just identified memory addresses that seem to control these elements, and then I'm just manipulating them to lock to particular values which match when they're in a particular state, such as during the capture sequence. So I don't want anyone to think, oh, you have to be an expert on this to do it. You actually can be very, very basic in your understanding. I obviously know a bit of Lua to write the script that actually does it, but even that is incredibly trivial. It's, you know, less than 100 lines of code, and that's mostly just inefficient address writing. I could have, you know, optimized this significantly and got it down to maybe 40 lines. So the problem now comes is identifying when the hack's in use while playing the game. So I'm by no means done with investigating this. I'm still going to look into ways of detecting this. I'm wondering if this Mardrake's going to behave now. We'll defend to capture this one, why not? Yes, I'm by no means done investigating. I want to see if there are ways that we can identify when this hack is in use, as differentiated from a genuine first-time capture. Oh, this is gonna... Yeah, he's still struggling, so it's gonna capture and then he's gonna go weird. Yeah. That Mardrake's just not behaving. But anyway. I did say implemented in light, it's hardly perfect, but anyway. So I was trying to think of ways in which we can mitigate this in the present. I'm going to look at the frame data from this video to see if there's any notable difference. My emulator sometimes generates audio artifacts anyway, so I don't really trust that as a means to identify this, unless someone else can replicate this and try it themselves, and they suddenly get audio artifacts when they don't otherwise. I'm hoping that the game thinks for a little bit longer or something like that, or possibly thinks less. And there's, you know, some frame differences between the two. But if not, my only other current theory is monitoring actually having the memory addresses up and showing that they aren't being manipulated. But that's only as good as long as other memory addresses aren't discovered and there aren't other ones you can manipulate. For example, I'm not manipulating the RNG of this game. I haven't touched the seed or whatever. I've strictly just gone, whenever you do an action, change it to capture instead of manipulating the seed or the random number generation to guarantee that there is a Mardrake here. Which is capturable. I think that's definitely something you can do in the memory. I actually think that's perfectly doable to manipulate the seed based on how I've been interacting with the code. As we saw earlier, I managed to get 4 of them in a row, so there's obviously seeds that can do it. And you just need to, you know, apply those seeds in the correct spots on the correct memory addresses at the right time, and there you go. You've done it. And it'll be indistinguishable from anything else. And that's what I'm concerned about. Is this style of manipulating affecting the legitimacy of your runs? This is obviously worse than most other things. You are straight up controlling what happens. You aren't getting a lucky seed. You aren't just repeatedly capturing Mardrakes, getting it genuinely. Because I don't want to dissuade people from doing their offline runs outright for this game, right? I just want them to be able to do something which can make it more verifiable because this hack exists and I know it exists. I certainly can never upload an offline run where I get a first-time Mardrake capture from now until forever without some kind of mitigating artifact, because obviously I've just demonstrated that I know how to do this hack. So I'm somewhat sacrificing myself a little bit. In the sense of I can now never get a legitimate run offline where I get that and upload it until we find some way or agree upon some way of getting rid of this problem, which I've somewhat created by discovering that it's possible. But I thought it would be better to discover that it's possible, publish a video showing that it's possible, rather than either me or someone else getting very down in the dumps about not getting the run they want, and then using the cheat and then just being quiet about it, and then getting the run, as it were, uploading it, and then no one's ever the wiser that they cheated that run. But I will say, it's not like streams are not susceptible to this either. As I said, I just need to press a button, and like, it's not like I could write the script more intelligently, right? Currently it detects that I'm fighting a Mardrake, it locks the memory addresses, then when the capture succeeds, it unlocks all the memory addresses again. That's what the script's doing. Right, so that's why it returns to normal gameplay after you capture the Mardrake, but when you are fighting a Mardrake, you capture it immediately. But I could write this in a much more intelligent way where I boot up the emulator, I immediately start running the script, and then I wait for something like my opponent is named Mardrake, because currently I'm using a memory address that's like, what am I fighting? Which defaults to 0 when you load a game, so that, which is Mardrake's memory address. But I could be smarter and say, wait for the enemy name text to be Mardrake. Or the health to be exactly 61, and the enemy to be level 3, and, you know, there's any number of ways to do it, and then lock the memory addresses, and you wouldn't know, because it would be identical to a normal thing. And then if you had that turn itself off after you captured one Mardrake, you could then freely press this button to get a Mardrake even live. You just wouldn't want to stream that much doing it because you'd get discovered as a course of having it happen too often. So streams are susceptible to this, and offline ones are susceptible to this, and that's why I thought it was so important to bring attention to it. Because this can bring into the question the legitimacy of future runs. I don't think anyone's done this from this point or before. Everyone I've seen which has captured a Mardrake first has been, they've had legitimate surprise at the fact that it happened, or they've gone for it because they thought it would be funny too, rather than because they thought it would work. Like, it's not the kind of thing you really go for in a run. But that's more or less it for the exploit. Obviously, I said there's imperfections in it, but as I said, I wrote this in a couple hours. It could be vastly improved. It's by no means perfect. Which I will do, so I will continue to work on it to see if I can perfect it to make it even more indistinguishable, for the sake of, if a cheater's going to use it, they're going to use it cleverly, right? Like, I'm going to wait till the Mardreg has 9 health, and then I'm going to enable the script, so that I will always capture it on 9 health or something. I don't know. But I think it's pertinent to develop tools or a means to identify this. And I obviously want to bring this to attention of other speedrunners of the game, the moderators for the boards of this game, if they can find anything that makes it obvious. I know the game's not got a very active player base, I just thought it was important. So that's more or less all I have for you guys today. I may do a few more videos later down where I can demonstrate doing this for the critical hits, the blocks, controlling enemy AIs, that sort of thing. I mean, there's loads you could do. You could just set it so that, like, all Heralcos have 0 mana, and then you'll never get, you know, if it mattered, they just would never use the attack. There's a bunch of ways I think you can exploit this game, which would be very hard to tell in a single segment speedrun. And I will continue to dig into these so that we can try to find ways to mitigate them. And I'm just going to, does Levant beat a Heralco in a 1v1? No, I think the Heralco's too fast. Yeah, the Heralco's too fast. Surely. I'm just mashing X to get through this. Maybe we just live with 4 health, but anyway. Nah, okay, we die. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Again, I'll keep you posted about any developments with any additional hacks I identify in the game, or exploitable weaknesses in the game's code design, so that you can control what happens in the game. And I will be streaming again on Sunday. That will be a rerun of the stream I did yesterday, because my game decided to destroy itself from all of my hackery. All of my messing with the game's code. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you then.